Who is John Brown? Before I hit the textbooks to study, I thought I could go find peers to find out who this man is. So I came down to the land of educated scholars, procrastinating at 11 p.m. in the basement of Mabee Library to ask the very question and continue to distract these fellow scholars. Who is John Brown?
He's a wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, he's kind of right. John Brown in history.
Oh, that dude? He was a crazy ass abolitionist who killed people.
Crazy ass abolitionist. Now, what do you think about John Brown?
I mean, he fought for what he believed in. We gotta respect him for that.
Do you think he's good or bad?
Generally good, but depends on what side you're on.
Generally good. Depends on that. Now, in that first part of what he said, it's debatable. But John Brown was an abolitionist. He wanted to abolish slavery, something he swore a forever war against back in 1808. This happened when he was 8 years old after being left motherless, getting taught slavery was a sin, and seeing an enslaved child get beaten in front of him. John Brown thought he had to do something about slavery.
Who's John Brown? An abolitionist.
Did you just get that from him?
Yes. No.
Do you know of John Brown?
No. All I know is that we learned in history back in high school.
What'd you learn about John Brown?
Didn't he go on this whole crusade march through the South at one point?
I think he's thinking of Martin Luther King. For most Americans who know of John Brown, know him for his violence against pro-slavers in his personal war against slavery, such as his most popular and last act of trying to stage a slave revolt in Harper's Ferry. He tried to capture an arsenal, but then soon federal troops captured Brown a few days later. He was then tried and hanged in Virginia, a southern state, causing him to become a martyr in the eyes of abolitionists at the time. However, Kansans know him for something else.
Hey, who's John Brown? Only thing I know about John Brown is bleeding Kansas. So,
Why is Kansas bleeding?
well, I thought it was he was somebody that was against slavery, right? And so he came to Kansas and killed those who owned slaves, right? Is that a thing?
Okay, he killed
The slave owners, not the slaves. Yeah,
Yeah. And why did he do that?
because he thought slavery was morally wrong. He was right.
Do you think John Brown's good or bad?
Pretty good to me.
Pretty good.
Being someone that's mixed race, yeah, I'm not a big fan of slavery. So what he did, I'm not angry about. I think it's good. I don't know. It was also 200 years ago. So.
Although Brown grew up in Ohio and lived the majority of his life in the Northeast, he did come to Kansas in 1855, inspired by the abolitionist movement, especially after the passage of the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854. This act allowed states to vote through a popular vote whether they wanted to be a free state or a slave state. So this caused both sides, abolitionists and pro-slavers, to move to Kansas to try and create a either slave state or free state. So John Brown wanted to go to Kansas so it could become a free state and to protect his fellow free staters. Once in Kansas, Brown did use violence to try and promote his abolitionist movement. He also tried to protect his fellow free staters through violence. This caused a lot of controversy surrounding John Brown in Kansas, but it also caused the nickname called Bleeding Kansas because of how much violence there was in the state. But apparently not all Kansans know who John Brown is. Like this person.
I really don't know who it
Now do you know who John Brown is?
is. I really don't know who he is. No.
Okay, alright.
For no amount of money till I know how much he is.
Alright, $2 off coupon for coffee. Now do you know who John Brown is?
Sure. I don't need anything. I don't know who he is.
How do you know
Just
who
tell
John
me.
Brown is?
From you.
From me?
I don't know.
Okay, alright, do you know about Kansas history?
I hate history.
You heard it here first, she hates history. What major are you?
Nursing.
She doesn't know who John Brown is. Well, after this nursing student tore my historian heart apart, I decided to repair it with some images of Brown that may jog her memory. As I was walking around the library strutting like Tyra Banks, I realized how important John Brown is to our modern history. After all, John Brown's era was one of the most polarizing eras of the time. And with some of John Brown's actions influencing the Civil War, it makes me wonder why people don't know who John Brown is. So I investigated further. Now do you know who John Brown is?
I know this person.
Wait, who? This
I know
person?
this.
Wait, who?
This is a picture. That's a picture. And
That is.
No.
She is correct. This is a picture.
listen, I've seen it before in my
Okay.
art class. I love
Art? You take art for your nursing major?
I did.
Did you ever take a history class?
No.
Because you hate history.
Yes.
So, who is he?
Okay, well now I feel stupid because isn't that John Brown?
Yes, that is John.
Okay.
You know what? You get that $2 off coupon. There you go.
Oh, great.
There you go.
Thank
Treat
you.
yourself right. So, what do you think of John Brown? Looking at this picture.
He is powerful.
I think he did.
Not a clue. Well, it looks like he killed some people.
He killed some people.
He's got a gun. I don't know. What do you want me to know about it?
No, do you know the history of John Brown?
No. I just learned about it in an art class. Oh, okay.
This is actually John Brown.
Okay, I've never seen that man in my life.
You don't have a depiction of him.
So this man is that man, but not.
This man is that man.
Cool.
That man is this man, who was an abolitionist. Does that ring a bell?
Nope.
No. Wanted to free slaves. Killed a bunch of people to free slaves.
I literally said he killed people.
Oh, you didn't know who John Brown is?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yes,
Who's John Brown?
he wanted to free slaves, but he did it the wrong way by going and killing a bunch of people
Uh-huh.
to try and he tried to fight violence with violence.
Do you think that's a good thing?
No,
Why do you think that's not a good thing?
because you should never fight violence with violence. Go about it the political way, not the violent way.
This is the same sort of sentiment that Brown received from his fellow abolitionists. Fellow abolitionists such as Frederick Douglass felt that Brown's violence against pro-slavers was not necessary, and that the issue of slavery could be solved through politics. However, John Brown felt that the vehicle of politics was not good enough and that it was not fast enough to end slavery. How did you know about John Brown?
7th grade history?
Were you in 7th grade? Did you skip a grade?
No. I just don't retain history because I don't like it. You want me to say it again? I hate history.
Well, I hate nursing.
Well,
Good thing you're not going into it.
Yeah, that's why I'm an anti-vaxxer. I'd never want to see you.
oh, okay. Well, when I save someone's life that you're close to, don't come knocking up my tree.
Well, you don't know who John Brown is.
Well, I'm not gonna save him because he's probably dead.
Okay, this nursing student is right. John Brown died in 1859 on December 2nd, when he was hanged by the Commonwealth of Virginia, a southern state. This then caused John Brown to become a sort of martyr in the eyes of abolitionists from the North, but he also was depicted as a crazed murderer. This depiction still goes on, with movies coming out in the 1940s and other things that depict John Brown as either crazed or a hero. That is why I did this video, to show that the depiction of John Brown is what people know, not really the man himself. Post your comments below if you have an opinion on John Brown or who John Brown is. Thanks for watching.